Alrighty, everybody. I think we are live now. Good evening. Good evening. Hope everyone is having a beautiful, beautiful day out there. It is really, really good to see you guys here back again. Hold on a minute. Oh my gosh, I heard myself for a minute. I was like, what the heck? But what's up, everybody? Good to see you. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's see what we got here today so far. We have Rose. Let's see. We have Mark. And we now have Sleeveless saying it's currently 18 here. Goodness, that is just, yeah, no thank you. It is way too cold. Speaking of temperatures, here is the current RTMA analysis. So basically currently showing you where these temperatures, or what these temperatures are around this time right now. Now, at the current moment of where we stand here, the last frame was at 8:30. You can see that freezing point in the white there going all the way down towards the Gulf Coast. It is going to be a really, really cold night tonight here, so we definitely do need to be prepared for that. Anyways, what's up, Ponderosa? Good to see ya. What's up, Roby? Saying it's cold. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit cold, especially up there by the upper Midwest right now. We have actually temperatures in the negatives at the moment. It's definitely going to be quite another cold night for you guys out there. So, definitely very, very cold. But anyways, everybody, so obviously today we do have, or we're going to be talking about this upcoming winter storm that we're getting ready to have here across the East country, which, it could be a pretty good one from the way it looks. There is still a little bit of model disagreement in terms of the exact track of this specific system. However, there is enough guidance going around now to say that this system will likely occur. At this point in time, I mean, it's pretty much a certainty that we will get this next system here to definitely kick off. So definitely we'll look at that here in a moment. Anyway, so actually I want to take a moment to hop over here towards towards the Ohio Valley. I'm actually going to go ahead and get rid of the the pressure here. We do actually have a little bit of ongoing snowfall. We actually had a little bit of snow squall warnings earlier out there by Ohio, which a lot of that line has pretty much broken up, but it still is kind of in the the range of where we still do have a little bit of snow showers and stuff like that going on here with that system. But anyways, but yeah, I just want to go ahead and mention that we do have a little bit of lake effect snow as well going on over here by like western Michigan. You can kind of see up there we have a little bit of lake effect snow going on, but I just figured we'll go ahead and mention that first just before we get on into the main forecast here. Anyways, let's see here. Norfolk, Virginia says a blizzard. Nah, as of right now, we're not seeing any warnings or anything like that in place here. It's still a little bit too far out. Like I said, this system's going to be kicking off here for Friday, going into Saturday, and then Sunday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday is when this system's going to be really kind of kicking off here. Let's see here. Let's see, to answer your question of what's up, definitely not temperature. That's true. That is very, very true. But all right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get on into the models here. First things first, I'm going to go ahead and bring up our workflow thing that we have going on here. This is our 3-panel snowfall, which, this is just 3 separate models. We have the American GFS model on the right-hand panel, the European ECMWF model in the middle panel, and we have the Canadian GDPS, or the GEM model, here on the left panel. So, once again, Canadian left, the European central, and the eastern panel is the American model. So this is just basically a comparison to what the models are currently suggesting here. So like I said, it's really going to happen on Friday, as you can kind of see here. So as we approach our way over here into Friday, it seems like models are on a pretty good amount of agreement here. That we definitely could start to maybe see some snowfall, kind of falling out there by maybe the Carolinas, maybe a little bit of the southeast, maybe towards like Tennessee, could even see a little bit according to both the Canadian and the European models. It seems like we do actually have, a little bit of support from really all models about the snow starting, sometime here for later Friday. Going into Saturday here. So then actually we work our way over here into pretty much the afternoon of Saturday. That's whenever we really start to see the system really start to pick up here. You can see that low out there just off the Carolina coast really starting to grip in terms of strength here. And you can see that, I mean, there's a pretty good amount of model agreement here, with this system, of heavy snow by this time here for Saturday afternoon. A lot of heavy snow falling possibly out by Georgia, North South Carolina here, maybe eastern Tennessee, portions of Virginia at this point here for the afternoon of Saturday. So then we go our way over here into pretty much the evening. This is for 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern on Saturday. Honestly, it seems like the models are, having a pretty good amount of agreement as of right now. Once again, we have three different models. The American model on the right panel, the European model in the middle, and of course we have the Canadian model here on the left panel here overall. And you could see that they look pretty darn similar to one another here, so that's definitely good news in terms of the models. Seems like they're kind of in agreement mode here. Now, in terms of pressure, by Saturday evening, it seems like they're pretty close to one another here. The Canadian model shows that central low down to right around 991, 992 millibars. The ECMWF European shows it right around 988, and we have the American GFS, which has it pretty much around 991 millibars. So, I mean, we're pretty much, in sync, with these models here. So, definitely is pretty good that we're starting to maybe see a little bit of agreement. Anyway, so then we work our way over here into the morning of Sunday. We're talking like 7 a.m. or so. By this point, there could be a little bit of a different outcome. So the American model on the GFS on the right panel still has, a bit of snow falling for Virginia, North Carolina here, while it seems like it lightens up a little bit according to the European model as well as the Canadian here. However, the coastal areas, like coastal North Carolina, maybe even a little bit of coastal South Carolina going up through coastal Virginia, into Delaware, New Jersey, possibly out by like Connecticut, maybe towards Rhode Island, Massachusetts, those areas could be dealing with a little bit of snowfall at this point here as well. So this is for, once again, the morning of Sunday. Then, of course, as we continue to go into pretty much the evening here of Sunday, maybe still some snow up for the Northeast. At this point in time, the Mid-Atlantic should be pretty clear from any snowfall. At this point, the drier air starts overtaking, in which we start to really, stop the precipitation at this point in time. But, there still could be maybe a little bit of lingering snow up here towards the Northeast, in which, it could be areas like, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, maybe New Hampshire, maybe Maine, could be seeing maybe a little bit of snowfall that continues. And the whole system should pretty much be out by pretty much by Monday here. So it's kind of a similar timing to this last snowstorm that we actually just had. Like I was mentioning here yesterday, it's like that last system started on Friday, went through Saturday, went through Sunday, and then it was out by Monday. So this model is kind of the same with the timing, starting Friday, going through Saturday, going through Sunday, and then should be out by Monday here. So, I mean, it honestly, tonight, it seems like the models are actually on pretty darn good agreement. So, I mean, at this point in time, yes, the system's going to happen. I mean, it's expected to. The Mid-Atlantic's probably going to be in for maybe a pretty good amount of snowfall, potentially. Now, like I said, this is still a couple days out. I mean, obviously, today's only Tuesday, and the system's supposed to start on Friday. So, there's going to be a little bit of disagreement. It's a little early to, talk snow accumulations. But you guys know I will anyways, because like I said, I mean, it's not good to trust them in this early, but it's good to see where the models are at least, and where we could see maybe, maybe some snow and stuff like that. But anyways, so here is what we're going to go ahead and do. I'm going to go ahead and bring up this particular map here. So we're going to start off with the American GFS model. On potential snowfall. Now, we actually really could be seeing a pretty good amount. Now, remember, like I said, it's too early to really trust these totals. So, don't get your hopes up too much, by what you're about to see here. But, I mean, it's all theoretical at this point. But anyways, according to the GFS, I mean, we could really be dealing with possibly over a foot in some areas. Maybe Virginia, maybe North Carolina included. Once again, still a little early. Maybe portions of Maryland, Delaware, going up towards Massachusetts. Definitely some pretty heavy Mid-Atlantic and coastal Northeast snowfall, according to the American GFS. Now, the Euro in comparison here, this is the 18 Zulu. The 18 UTC obviously shows a lot less snowfall, but still a decent amount possibly towards, the Carolinas. So there's obviously a big difference there. That's something you got to take note for, is that, yeah, not all models agree like that as of right now, which, they really need to start agreeing, before we start really taking a lot of these totals very seriously. Like I said, it's just a little early for, these exact totals and stuff like that. But anyways, so that's the Euro, and it does have, maybe Eastern Massachusetts still possibly dealing with a pretty good amount of snowfall. We have like Cape Cod area, which, kind of sticks out there a little further. They have a pretty good shot here, of seeing at least a decent amount of snowfall. So they definitely got to look out for this. Now, in terms of the Canadian, the GDPS, it's completely different as well. So while the structure and the timing of the storm is pretty similar between all three models, the American, the European, and the Canadian, while it is all pretty similar with like I said, the way that the system looks and the timing, the totals are still a little bit different, as you can kind of tell here. But yeah, here's the Canadian model showing, a lot of snow just off the coast here, which, there could be a little bump to the west potentially, which could allow for heavier totals towards the mid-Atlantic. I mean, this definitely could turn out to, it really could turn out to be quite a, nasty little system here, if this thing really does, trend westward, which is certainly possible. It could really go either way. It could wiggle to the west. It could wiggle to the east. It is possible. But still, I mean, areas out by like Eastern Massachusetts showing possibly some heavy totals there. So definitely got to keep a close eye out for that. Anyways, let me get to some of these chats here. Let's see here. What's up, Queen? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Let's see here. Could Canton, Georgia get snow? Let me pull up Canton. I'm not exactly sure where Canton is by any means here. I don't have every area memorized. Canton, Georgia. All right, so you're up in, okay, so yeah, you're kind of northern Georgia here. Okay, well, let me bring up the models. Oops, that's not the models. It is a real possibility, that you could possibly see maybe a little bit here. Let's go ahead and pull up our 3-panel again. We'll compare the models here to Georgia and what we potentially could be, seeing out of the system. So we'll give it 1 second to load. It really actually seems like it'll probably, yeah, I mean, there definitely could be some snow showers out there, at least where guidance is now. Now, remember, this can still change maybe a little bit. In which we'll have to keep an eye out there for. But the way the models do suggest, I mean, the Canadian on the left does show maybe a little bit of snowfall. Same thing with the Euro. GFS a little less, but they do show maybe a little bit of snow out that way. So it's definitely possible. Let's see here. Roby says Friday is supposed to bring record-breaking temperatures from what I heard. It's going to be really cold. It's going to be really, really cold. Let's see here. Had a warning for 4 to 8 inches. We probably got a foot or more here in Alaska. Really? Wow. I mean, Alaska usually gets some pretty good storms here. So, yeah, for sure. Queen says, I'm loving all this. The models show very little snow in southwest Pennsylvania. The last storm was brutal. It really was. Yeah, Pennsylvania got hit really hard. In terms of Pennsylvania, for this particular system, as of the guidance shows, I don't think Pennsylvania will be hit too hard. If anybody's going to get it in Pennsylvania, it's going to be the eastern side. The western side, I mean, you can see there's really no guidance at all suggesting that this thing works its way far enough westward to, to really cause some complications and stuff like that out there. So it's pretty unlikely that, western Pennsylvania will see it as of now. But one thing I do want to point out, I just want to take a moment here to really show you guys, I mean, just how strong this storm is. I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous. Look at this low. Okay, so this is here for pretty much Sunday afternoon. That central low, according to the Canadian model, is down to 953 millibars. That is a ridiculously low pressure. I mean, that is really, really low. Like, that's like equivalent to Category 3-ish. Obviously it's not a hurricane, but, central pressure for hurricanes can get that, for right around Category 3, can get about that low, which is pretty crazy. Then you have the Euro, which has a little bit higher, still a very impressive 968 millibars, and, honestly, the GFS agrees on that as well at 968, so definitely, I think it's going to be a pretty good one. This will also bring some really big wind problems, too. Here, let me Let me pull up the wind map here. We're going to pull up the single panel for a moment, just so we have a little bit more room so it's not too crammed. So we'll go ahead and just bring that up real fast. So let's pull up our surface. We'll do max accumulated wind gusts. So these are just what winds could, peak to at some given point. But, you can really see what we might actually be in for. So here's the American GFS model. Now, up towards the coast, we could be dealing with maybe some gusts, 50, maybe 60 miles an hour, or locally higher amounts possibly in some areas. I mean, we're talking some serious winds here, and combining with that, that snow potential that could really bring quite a bit of maybe even blizzard conditions, because a blizzard is not necessarily just heavy snow, but it's a combination of low visibilities, high winds, and heavy snow, and for a prolonged period of time, essentially. So, I mean, yeah, that's going to be another big concern from the way that it looks here. So, that's the American model. The European, the ECMWF here, actually, I don't know if this is going to happen, but Euro shows 115 mile an hour winds, 117 out to sea there. That's crazy. But by the coast here, maybe 40, maybe 50 miles an hour or so, so there's a little bit of a difference there in the models. And then, of course, you got GDPS, the Canadian model, which this one, whenever it decides that it wants to load here, also really shows some heavy winds up there by the northeast, but also kind of 40, maybe 50, locally 60 mile an hour wind gusts could be possible. So, that's just something you guys also got to remember is that, not only is this thing potentially going to be bringing some heavy snow, but it's also going to be likely bringing some ridiculously strong winds here as well. So definitely got to watch out for that here, especially for my marinists who like to go out in the water. This is also a system that you got to really watch out, out to sea because, we're going to have some strong winds. And as you know, strong winds equal big waves. So, you can imagine there's going to be some really rough waves out there. I mean, possibly even some rip currents and stuff like that for the coast, given the strong, how strong the system is. Now, I don't think anybody's out swimming right now up in the mid-Atlantic and Northeast, but, I'd be probably honestly surprised by people who still be out in the water, which I'd heavily advise against it. What's up, Roachy? Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Let's see here. Hey, Andrew, how's it going? Can I check on the zip code, see whether or not I'm getting hit by this storm? Obviously, it's a bit far west. Would appreciate you if you can show the snow accumulation. Absolutely. Here, let me pull up your area real fast here. So you are up in Maryland. Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, you're up not too far, actually, where my dad is. You are really not too far. So let's pull up that 3-panel again here for a moment. We'll go ahead and compare the models, with the system. Now, honestly, I think you guys, you have a little bit of a shot here. It seems like the American GFS kind of agrees the most with you maybe getting, the better shot of seeing snow. But honestly, it seems like it might just barely graze you as of now. Now, remember, this is still, this is starting Friday. It's only Tuesday, so this is still, like 3 days away from really starting to kick off here for the most part. So, with that being said, the guidance that we stand on right now doesn't show it a lot, but I wouldn't rule it out completely. I wouldn't be like, yeah, the storm's not going to hit us quite yet. It's not for sure. But what is for sure is that the system is going to happen. At this point, we know it's going to happen, because of the continuous model support in the system's existence, not just because of one model said so, but because all models said so. So definitely, really, a pretty good shot here for the system to occur. It's going to happen at this point. But like I said, the direct areas included is still a little gray as of right now. But we'll definitely keep you up to date. Now, the accumulations would obviously be too early to tell. It's not even really worth it looking at those accumulations because, 2 of the models don't agree with that system really causing much impacts, while the American GFS does show maybe a little bit, but it would be kind of useless to do that. Anyways, Roby says I'm wintered out, so ready for spring. Me too. I am really, really ready for springtime. I'm tired of winter weather already. And the bad thing is we still have all of February to go through, so it's like, man, we got another month worth of like pretty cold conditions. February is pretty aggressive too. With January, February are like the most aggressive winter months. So we're about halfway there, pretty much halfway through winter at this point. All right, let's see here. What about Lexington Park, Maryland? So for Maryland, we were just talking about the Maryland area here. The direct impacts on Maryland in general is unknown, but the greatest probability for impact would be for the eastern side, pretty much just east of Baltimore, east of I-95, would probably have the best shot for the accumulations. You got the Canadian model here showing maybe some snow in eastern Maryland. You got the American GFS here, which shows maybe a little bit of snowfall here too. But of course, you got the Euro, which is like no, pretty much just straight up no. Too early to be for sure, honestly. I mean, you should definitely watch out for potential impacts. Absolutely. All right, let's see here. Valerie says, "I used to live in Massachusetts. Love it there. I miss it so much. I'm at West Coast now, and it's nice to hear. But I really miss the East Coast. I gotcha. Yeah, well, hope you're doing well out there, my friend. And well, yeah, you're not obviously gonna be getting this storm here, but I hope you're doing well. Let's see here. I knew we would end up paying for 70-degree temps we were having. I guess very storm, huh? A storm. Oh, a very storm active spring here. Are you talking about Florida? Because I was gonna say it's not really 70 other than Florida, which now Florida is actually really cold. I mean, today it only got up to like I think a low of 50, which you guys might be like, well, that's warm, which probably for you it is, but for us that's really cold. I was explaining to my to somebody earlier. It's like your guys' version of the temperature being in the 10s is like our version of the temperature being in the 30s down here, because we get used to the heat. We acclimate to the heat. I know this for sure because, like I said, I grew up in Virginia. I was born in Northern Virginia. We had some really cold temperatures, really big snows. So I know what that northern life's like. But like I said, I've been down here in Florida for a couple of years, and it's like, you get used to it. This is actually my 4th winter being down in Florida. So, 3 since I've lived here almost 3 years, but I've spent an entire winter down here with my brother because he lives down here as well. But anyways, let me see here. I just got a random pop-up. Let's see. Spring means tornadoes, though. It does, unfortunately. It's just, kind of a part of it. But, we'll be there to cover those too. But it does bring warmer temperature. You gotta think of the positives, It brings warmer conditions and stuff like that, Anyways, what's up, Scott? Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Weather says, will I see snow here in Grandy, North Carolina? How likely? At least get an inch. Let me pull up Grandy. I'm not too sure exactly where Grandy's at. Let's see. This is up in. Okay, this is Eastern. Yeah, your odds are pretty good. I'd say it's almost 100% sure. I wouldn't give it 100%, but I'd say at least 80% chance that you'd likely see at least an inch. I mean, because you're kind of in the middle of everything here. I mean, even with the current guidance, even if the storm shifts really far westward, you'd still be included. If it shifts further eastward, you'd still be included. I mean, you can see here once again if we hop over to the comparison of the 3 models. You being on the far eastern side. I mean. Yeah, you got all 3 models saying, yes, likely some heavy snow here. The Canadian on the left, the European on the middle, and then, of course, the American on the right. So, I'd say it's a really good shot. Really good shot. How cold is it going to be in Florida this weekend? I don't even want to talk about it. I'm not looking forward to it. But we might get as low as the mid-20s. The mid-20s, dude. I am not ready for it. Here, I'll go ahead and pull it up real quickly. I'm sure we got any Florida folks in here? Anybody here in here in Florida? Here, let me pull up the 2-meter temperature here. So let's just take a little peek at this. So this is for 7 a.m. on Sunday. So for this weekend. What's up, Boomers? Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Let me pull up. Here, we'll just make this white. Yeah, so by the way, these are actual temperatures. These are not your feel like. This is your real temperatures. So this is the American GFS model, but look at these temps. Northern Florida might even break the teens, which is like, no, I mean, freezing temperatures all the way near Fort Lauderdale. I mean, not quite, but getting there. Not too far. Miami in the lower 40s, upper 30s. That's crazy, crazy stuff. So that's the American. Now it's good to compare because not every model's perfect. So here's the Euro, the ECMWF. Honestly, really not far off, but look how really cold these temps are. Out in Polk County here where I'm at, we're talking maybe mid lower 20s. Absolutely crazy, crazy, crazy. Yep, and then once again, northern Florida. This model's a little cooler. Euro is a little bit colder, actually having upper teens for northern Florida, including like Tallahassee, Pensacola, potentially. A little bit. The coastal areas will actually be a little bit warmer, but especially like Tallahassee, I-10 could really see quite a bit of cold conditions out there. Not going to be very good. Not good. And of course, we'll just pull up the GDPS because why not? Yeah, GDPS wants it a bit colder. Canadian model, which Canada's already cold, so they must have a lot of cold integrated with their models. It's a joke, by the way. But yeah, I mean, you can see we do have still really cold temps down here. I'm not ready for it. Not ready for it. Let's see here. Thank you. So you don't mind one. I hope it snowed last year in Grady, North Carolina. Could be the last snow. Yeah, you don't know that. Like I said, February is a very active month for snow. I mean, even for the South, when we do get it, it can happen. Absolutely. Just because January is over doesn't mean that, all that storm activity is over with. Because, I mean, like I said, February is very active as well. Very active. All right, well, let's pull up some more of these models here again. One thing I do want to look at here. Let's see. We looked at the precipitation type. We looked at the wind speeds. Let's pull up temps. Actually, we just looked at temperatures. See, I'm having short-term memory issues. We literally just talked about temps, and I'm like, all right, let's look at temps again. Oh my goodness, we don't talk about that. You guys never saw that. Anyways, well, we talked about temps. We talked about the precipitation type. We talked about snow accumulations. We talked about basically everything, but I'll repeat some things, for the new viewers coming in here. So, for now, let's pull up the precipitation type and reflectivity here. So we'll take it one model at a time instead of the comparison. Let's just look at the models, one by one on the big panel. So, anyway, start on pretty much late Friday, early Saturday. This is when we really start to get that system going. So this is the American GFS model. You can see the system, really including a lot of the mid-Atlantic and probably some pretty heavy snow between Saturday and Sunday. Should be out by Sunday for you guys. And also the coastal Northeast could be dealing with a bit. Now, obviously a push to the west would push the snow to the west as well. But from right now, it seems like the mid-Atlantic, the coastal Northeast is pretty locked in as of right now for possibly a pretty good amount of snowfall. Then, of course, like I said, then you got the European model here, which we're now in the Euro. Showing the same thing, really heavy snow towards the mid-Atlantic, bits of the southeast even. There's a possibility, I don't know if you guys have been hearing on the news here lately, Florida could get pretty close to some snow, you can see. And, given that we have the Gulf here, could be supplying maybe a little bit of moisture. There very well could be some Gulf-induced snow here in Florida. Now, there's not a whole lot of model guidance on it right now, and the odds are, I'd say, pretty low as of right now, but hey, man, can't rule it out. Can't rule it out. We'll have to see. Let's see. You're in Florida. Gotcha. Your brother lives in Broward County. Where's that at? I've never even heard of Broward County. Is that Florida? Huh. Let's see here. I've seen snow as late as May. Oh, yeah. Depends. Here, whenever I lived up in Virginia, I think the latest I saw snow was in April. But, anyways. Let's see here. Getting closer to February 13th. Night Shine Dance. Hoped no threat for Night Shine Outer Banks. Gotcha. Boomer says, hey, I sent you a super chat, but it didn't pop up. I want to make sure you got it. Oh, did you? Hold on a minute. Let me pull this up. Did it? I didn't see it come through. Did it go through on your end? Maybe, I don't know if it's just YouTube being stupid or what. Well, I really appreciate it. But I didn't get it. I don't see it here. I really apologize. YouTube's pretty dumb sometimes, But well, thank you, Boomers. I appreciate it, dude. Let's see here. What percent of chance for the snow for Florida? I'd say about 5%, 5 to 10%, to be honest with you. If you're talking about snow in this storm, 100%. Just in general, for the East Coast getting hit, 100% at this point. Anyways, Do I think it'll trend northwest? Yeah, there's no way to be for sure. I mean, it could. Like I said, it could wiggle around either way. I mean, it could go east, it could go west. It's all up to the models, you know. Let's see here. What's up, Kim? Good to see you. Saying, hey, Andrew, good to see you. You too. Let's see. Got confirmation from my mail and PayPal. That's really weird. I don't know what's going on here. Let me pull it up on my phone. I mean, let me just make sure. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, YouTube can be a little glitchy sometimes. So, let's see here. Yeah, I mean, it hasn't popped up on here yet. So, I mean, what you can just tell me what you said on that super chat, and I can just answer your question. I mean, if you had a question or whatever, just whatever it said, you can just post it again. But well, thank you, dude. I really appreciate it. I don't know, what's going on with YouTube there. Need to learn how to spell Fort Lauderdale. That's all good. Alex says, how is Central Jersey looking like? I've been seeing WPC Weather Prediction Center trending up, as well as the NBM. Is that the National Blended Models? So, y'all are going to be, I don't know. There's a bit of mixed model agreement here. Here, let me pull up our 3-panel again for a minute. So let's hop over here back to the 3-panel. So we have the Canadian on the left panel. We have the middle is the European, and we have the GFS on the right here. So as you can see, if we pull up New Jersey, I mean, all 3 models do show maybe a little bit of snowfall. You guys kind of skimming by. Now, obviously, any further of a push to an east or to the east would probably throw you to getting hardly anything. But I mean, that could go further west even. So if it goes further west, obviously you get more potential for snow and probably more accumulations. Obviously the further east it goes, the less. But I mean, from right now, I mean, all 3 models do agree on bits of New Jersey definitely getting possibly some pretty good snow out of the system. Right now, I think highest confidence for heavy snow appears to be in the Carolinas. So if there's any folks out here in the chat right now who's in the Carolinas, you really might want to really watch this one. It's the 3 major models. Once again, the Canadian, the European, and the American, GFS, ECMWF, and the GDPS. All say, hey, there might be some pretty good snow. Like I said, for this particular time frame here in the models, this is for 4 p.m. 4 p.m. on Saturday, I should say. So, I mean, we're getting there. It's honestly not that far out. I mean, that's 100 hours out or so. So, anyways, let me see. How likely is look for snow in Outer Banks on February 13th? February 13th. I mean, February in general is, for that far out, it's too far. I'm not going to look anywhere in February 13th because, I don't like to look at anything past a week, really, unless there's like significant agreement. No, we're not going to look that far out. It's too unreliable. And I guarantee it'll change a million times over the next 5 days. So. But, whenever we get closer to February 13th, whenever I hop live, you can let me know then. But it's too early to tell. But anyways, y'all. Well, if you guys have any questions, be sure to let us know. Like I said, go ahead and throw down a chat. We'll be here to help you guys out. But here, let's hop back to the totals here. That is something that I do want to do here. So let's pull this up. So let's actually go ahead and reset our workflow here. So we'll do that. We'll go ahead and pull up the precipitation. We'll do our 10-to-1 ratio here. So obviously, like I said, it's early to trust these totals. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make that clear with you guys here. Is that it is way too early to trust these accumulations, but just kind of want to see where the models are at right now. It's the whole reason why we're doing this. Anyways, here, let's turn on our points too, so you can see like the accumulations and stuff. We'll turn up our font size so we can see a little bit better, and we'll increase our stroke width here. There you go. So by far, I think the most aggressive model that we looked at here from the European, or sorry, for the Snowfall, is actually the American model, the American GFS. Now, like we mentioned, the latest run of the GFS really shows, a pretty heavy amount of snowfall through the Mid-Atlantic. Maybe Virginia, maybe North Carolina, seeing some pretty good amount of snowfall. And then, of course, some areas out throughout, the coastal Northeast here could definitely see a pretty good amount of accumulation. But, just to really show you how different models are, we hop to the Euro now. You can see that Euro's totals are significantly a lot less. But if you notice a hot spot, it still shows like North Carolina. Maybe that hot spot a little further south, a little bit more for like central northern South Carolina. North Carolina still possibly a pretty good amount. And then, of course, we have a little bit of like the Northeast, maybe getting skimmed with a little bit there. So that's that. And then, of course, we have the GDPS, Canadian. Canadian model still has like North Carolina getting a pretty decent amount of snowfall potentially. And, of course, we do have like the coastal, Northeast still likely getting in on some pretty heavy totals, but it's really kind of brushing up against the coast there. So, we'll definitely have to look out for that. Areas like Long Island, considering that you guys are, like right on the coast there, I mean, you all could probably see a decent amount. I mean, it seems like most models, does show, a little bit, just a little bit. But I would definitely keep an eye out there for like areas out in Long Island. What's up, Calvin? Good to see you. Let's see. Roby says, what kind of temperatures do I see for my area this weekend in Southwest Missouri? Well, let me pull it up. It's going to be really cold for a lot of people. Let's hop over here real fast. Here, let me load up my temp. I made my own temperature map here. All right, so you wanted to look one on the weekend. Gotcha. Here, let's pull up the American GFS here. All right, so let's see. Ooh, buddy. Yeah. 7 a.m. on Saturday. Look at that. Ooh. You might be down in the upper... honestly, no, you might be down in the lower single digits, maybe even close to 0, and maybe even negatives. Maybe even the negatives. Here, let's add a point here too. We'll make that white. We'll make it a little bit bigger so you can see. We'll increase the stroke width. There you go. Look at that. Yeah, you definitely could be pretty darn cold from what it looks like. No, thank you. I would recommend finding a plane ticket and going to somewhere in the Caribbean, because this is ridiculous. Yeah, look at this. I mean, Euro is even colder. Euro shows like -2, -3. No. GDPS is even more aggressive, especially up north. A little better in the south of Missouri, but bottom line, really cold stuff. Really cold stuff. No, thank you. Anyways, all right, let's see here. Saw from a drop sun going into the 0 Zulu runs. How long do let's see, how long do I think it takes to really see the full effect of the data to like 12 Zulu? Is it drop son from a recon mission? Because, or are you talking radio son from a weather balloon? You said drop son. Not sure, but usually if you're talking weather balloons, they usually do that at 0 Zulu and 12 Zulu. So I think that's 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. In the current time zone. And those are usually plugged into the models just before they run. All right, let's see here. Moderate says up, Andrew. I like the new angle and the layout. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I got my new TV. Actually, I got that mounted up here today, which I'm really happy for. Dude, I got to tell you something. The cool thing about that TV is not only is it used for, showing up stuff. I mean, I could literally bring this panel. So you got my radar over here. I can literally move it. Look at that, dude. Isn't that so cool? Oh, my goodness. It is so neat, man. Love it. But anyways, but it also I can swing it out. My bed's right here, and I can sit there and watch TV in bed, and I can just swing it back whenever I go live. Pretty cool stuff. Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm just a little happy about the about my new TV, man. It's so cool. So cool. What's up, Frankie? Good to see you, man. See, I feel like you mentioned them. Used to live in Northern Virginia. Fingers crossed, dancing for snow until it's possible. It's definitely possible. Yep. Well, especially out there, I think you guys have a pretty good shot. Especially far east Virginia, I think we have a pretty good shot. Ruby says, "Thanks, Andrew. I feel free to send my plane." Or I'd say, feel free to send me a plane. I know they're a little expensive, but yeah. Anyways, Ethan says drop songs. That's interesting. I don't know if there's any recon going on out right now. Here, let me pull up the tropical tidbits view. Let me see if they have any missions going on. By the way, everybody, if y'all could maybe consider leaving a like, hit that subscribe button for me. It'd be much appreciated. All right, let's hop over here. Recon. Oh yeah, I see that. Look at that. We do got a mission. I'm not exactly sure what time those would be implemented or whatnot, to be honest with you. Anyways. What about Florida tomorrow? What do you mean by temperatures? Pretty cold. I think we're supposed to get freezing a lot here for central northern Virginia tonight. So let's see, what's today? Today is Tuesday. Yeah, so we go into Wednesday. Ooh, yeah. We're gonna have some temps in the lower 20, maybe lower mid 20, upper 20s throughout Florida, central northern. Definitely a pretty good amount. But anyways, man, oh man, it's gonna be cold. That I do know. Let's see here. Julie says, "What about Ferrum, Virginia?" Let me pull that up here. Oh, you're in Western Virginia. Yeah, the odds right now aren't very high. For anything like super significant out there. I'll go pull up my 3 panel here again for you guys. Let's do that now. So, let's go ahead and load this up here. Yeah, so you can see, I mean, some of the models having it kind of skimmed by. Oh, you know what? Seems like, yeah, that's right, because Southern Virginia, North South Carolina seem to be getting a pretty good amount of snowfall. So yeah, I mean, it could be decent for you. We'll have to see. I mean, you can see some of the models out there definitely, or I mean, all 3 models really do show maybe a little bit of snow, but it's still a little early to figure out exactly how much right now. So, anyways, let's see, Boomer coming in with a 20. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that. That's super nice of you, dude. I think now it just went through for some reason. Saying, I keep up the good work, Andrew. Love the streams, buddy. Well, thank you so much, dude. Thank you so much, Boomers. I really appreciate it. Let's see here. Is Florida going to be very cold tomorrow? Yeah, it'll be very cold tomorrow out there in Florida. So y'all bundle up. I'm actually in Florida too, so I have to bundle up. Oh, man. Julie, you're very welcome, my friend. No problem. Boomer says got to fix. Thank you, dude. You're amazing, man. I really appreciate that. You certainly didn't have to. I need to grab my radar panel back here. There we go. Forgot I put it over there. All right, let's see here. Ruby says, peace and love to all. I see a warm bed calling me. I don't blame you. Yeah, I'm probably going to roll off here too, unless you guys have any more questions before I roll off here. But like I said, guys, be sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, y'all. We are getting close. Let's see here. Let me pull this up here. We are getting really close to 32,200 subs. So we are only 12 away. So if you guys could, it'd be much appreciated. Cold in Texas. I bet it is. I bet. It's cold everywhere. It's really cold. What do I think the chances of the Euro moving more west? I couldn't tell you for sure, to be honest with you. I mean, it seems like, it's just random. It just depends. It could, like I said, it could really just flop either way. It could go west. It could go east. Honestly, I really couldn't tell you. I mean, we'll just have to keep an eye on it and how it plays out. I missed Calvin's question. Did I? Where's Calvin? Oh, is there gonna be more, or is there gonna be cold morning all this week in Houston? Here, let me pull up. Let me reset this real quickly, and then after this, y'all, I think I'm gonna head off for now. But pull up our 2-meter temp. Houston. I mean, whatever you define cold as. The nights are gonna be pretty darn cold. Yeah, we go into Saturday. Looks like we're gonna be probably near freezing out there. Should start to warm up maybe by midweek next week or so. So, yeah. All right, see you later, Boomer. Thanks for joining, man. Once again, thank you for the support, dude. You rock, man. Good evening, all. How does it look for Connecticut other than really cold? Still kind of wondering about Connecticut. It seems like there could be, a pretty good snowstorm out there. It seems like a lot of the models are pretty coastal, though. I mean, they're not far inland up in the Northeast. There's definitely a little bit of disagreement going on there, but we'll keep you up to date. All right, everybody. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and head off here for now. Thank you all so much for joining. I really appreciate it. If you guys could, maybe leave a like, hit that subscribe button on your way out. It'd be much appreciated. But, all right, everybody. Well, I'm going to go ahead and roll off for now. We'll be back here tomorrow. I'll probably do another live stream probably tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to schedule 2 live streams tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you have those notifications on, and we'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out, my friends. See ya later on.